So this is Baruch. We're at the Tikkun Elevator Kolel and continuing on with the series here. This is part 2. And this part is called interconnectedness, which is an idea that Rabbi Mimran wants to say that basically it is our egos. I think this is what he's saying, is our survival instinct that separates us. Because the truth is that there is a binding between us that is unbreakable, but we don't see it. So he says like this. This is a section called Modern Science Reveals Insights into the Spiritual Worlds. So we have this little blurb that he's bringing up from the Or HaChaim, and he said by sinning, this automatically distances Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, with their Father in heaven, as is written, you are attached to Hashem until you sin. So what is this sin about? Well, so we know, going back to our forefathers, Adam and Eve, as they did something independent, something selfish, something they wanted to do themselves, and it had nothing to do with what their real purpose in existence was, and as a result, they fell. Now, using the idea that Rabbi Mimran said in the last shiur, he said that really we're composed of vibration levels, many different ones. The faster the vibration, the more invisible it is. And we didn't, let's say 150 or 200 years ago, there was no inkling that there was something like a radio wave or a television wave or all the different kinds of lasers and different kinds of uses of light. Nobody had an idea that they existed. But nonetheless, in the course of the Kabbalah, they agree that it all fits into that pattern. But let's see what this says here. He says, modern physics have postulated the existence of a faster-than-light particle known as a tachyon. If indeed this exists, because it's a theory, then they probably form a universe in their own place and according to their own properties of physics. Since it's moving beyond a realm of measure, then it has a realm of its own, similar to the way protons, neutrons, and electrons form us in our universe. When we think of protons, neutrons, and electrons, we visualize them as being light, round marbles, or balls. This is how subatomic particles are portrayed in science books and taught in schools. Yet the pioneer theory in physics today is that these subatomic particles are not these little dots of matter, but rather a group of vibrating strings. Now, this is called string theory. Indeed, all subatomic matter is said to be merely various degrees of resonance vibrating on these subnuclear strings. The whole universe then is founded upon sound. Matter is nothing more than a symphony of vibrating strings in space-time. Now, this phrase space-time, we've been through it before, and to my mind, it's something to think about. Space and time are really relative. And so therefore we have to see, in which level, he's saying, which level of vibration are we talking about? However, there is one unique principle about matter. The bright vibrating strings all vibrate lower than the speed of light. It is thus possible that there is a universe invisible to us, made of particles, that is, sound resonances upon strings that travel and modulate. In other words, their frequencies are different, faster than the speed of light. Now, translated to me, this means that there is we know this is what the basic thinking of the Ariyas and Kabbalists, is that there is a world beyond revelation. What does revelation mean? He says here we're in a physical world. So where we can actually see in that physical world, there has to be a progenitor to it. Nothing comes from nothing. With the advances in modern physics, the realm of the invisible is no longer the domain of religion and science fiction. The realm of the invisible is now a science fact. We all know that feelings such as love and thought exist. Nevertheless, neither of these can be subject to mathematical analysis or a theory of their operations that their operations present. All these particles, such as protons, neutrons, and electrons, there is by definition a cohesive bond that binds them together. Now let's get into this. He said, comparatively speaking, there is as much space between subatomic particles as there in between planets and stars, meaning that you could go inward and come to more of a beginning, and that the spaces that you are looking at is what he says, that there is between planets and stars is tremendous space going inward. As this is the case, what exactly is the nature of the force that binds them together? How do subatomic particles that form my hand know that belong to my hand and not to the table upon which my hand presently rests? At our human level, I can recognize forms which create the difference between my hand and the table. Yet at a subatomic level, all that exists are these little particles that bear no resemblance to that which they form. How is it then that they know what to form? What force binds combinations of subatomic particles into atoms and eventually molecules, and then have an appearance like a hand? The answer is the power of Hashem, the Creator. This is the unifying force which causes everything to come together. As briefly mentioned above, one of the subatomic theories, let's talk about this, is that the smallest particles of matter, indeed billions of times smaller than neutrons and protons or strings, are called strings. These tiny little strings each vibrate in a different way, expressing a different frequency. Similar, like say, to a violin. One string can manifest different notes, so too these subatomic strings each vibrate at a different resonance or frequency. Together these strings create an orchestra of the universe. In other words, underlying all forms of matter, he wants to say that whatever is manifest, there is something inside of the manifestation that caused it to come out in the first place. All form of matter is our four-dimension space-time, not of any type of particle, but only of various sounds upon strings. Physical matter is therefore founded upon sound. In order to understand this, we must understand the relationship between physical matter and energy according to Einstein's theory of relativity, E, that is, energy is equal to mass times a constant times 2. Energy is equal to mass times the speed of light. So that's what he says. I guess mass constant 2 is speed of light. So let's again. Energy is equal to mass times the speed of light. The difference between energy and mass, so if it's just potential, energy, power, and mass, that is something that's manifest, is defined by the speed of light. Now, exactly what do I do with this? If the string theory is correct, and according to Kabbalah it is, the difference between energy and physical mass is simply the frequency of the vibration of the strings. That which vibrates faster than the speed of light is energy. That which vibrates slower than the speed of light is mass. Our world, he says, our world of space-time is composed of those vibrations that make up neutrons, protons, and electrons. According to Kabbalah, there exists a faster-than-light world made of tachyons and other yet unknown particles or strings. Now, it's important to understand that the Ari, Rabbi Isaac Luria, Ashkenazi, he's way beyond this. But from here, you could see from the physics that we have now, is pointing to the fact that beyond the speed of light, which we see light. We have something much higher, something that starts way before that. Let us review the parameters of dimensions. Space consists of 3 dimensions. Time is the 4th. According to Kabbalah, the 5th is that which is referred to as thought, space travel. That thought. Let's just stop there, as thought. So let's go again. He says, Kabbalah says, let's start again. It says space consists of 3 dimensions. Time is the 4th. 4 dimensions. According to Kabbalah, there is a 5th dimension. That 5th is that which is referred to as thought, that the mind actually is much faster than any of these other things. What does that mean? Space travel is accomplished by foot, car, or plane. He means traveling in space. He didn't mean outer space. He just means movement has to be done in these ways. Time travel at present is accomplished by aging. Thought travel is 2-directional. It runs between good and evil. The method of travel in this dimension is through the medium of the thinking process. Now let's see how he goes. He says, in other words, where your thought is where you are. Rabbi Mimran says this over and over again. He says, thought transcends the 5th dimension. Thought, therefore, is the dimension above space-time. It can travel faster than the speed of light. This fact was scientifically proven during tests of quantum mechanics performed in the 1980s. Now, according to the Kabbalists, Adam, the original man, before the fall in the Garden of Eden, had a body made out of light and not one of flesh and blood like we have. Only as a result of the eating of the fruit from the forbidden tree was Adam penalized with a body of flesh. What then was the true nature of the fall of Adam? The present Adam's body of flesh and blood is composed of matter that exists in 4-dimensional space-time. Let's go back again. It's stimulated a lot of thoughts in my mind, and as a result, I have to read again. Only as a result of eating the fruit from the forbidden tree was Adam penalized. He was penalized with a body of flesh, that's us. What then was the true nature of the fall of Adam? Now that's the real question. The present Adam's body of flesh and blood is composed of matter that exists in 4-dimensional space-time. In other words, our bodies are formed of those subatomic particles, which are strings that are vibrating slower than the speed of light. What force binds combinations of subatomic particles into atoms and eventually molecules, and then they're manifest as like arms, legs, or chairs, or whatever? The answer is the power of Hashem, the Creator. Rabbi Mimran at the Tikkun Elevator Kolo. This is Baruch Flashman.